This morning
Thanks
I'm
as
doing
always.
really well, thank you.
Good. Thanks as always again for joining us. For members of the media on the call, please press *1 at this time to get in the queue for questions for head coach Zenarae Antoine of Texas State. Coach, before we get to any questions, could you give us your thoughts on your season so far, dating back to the non-conference play and now with 5 games of conference action under your belt?
I don't know. I think at this point right now, I think we're in a good place. I think to start out, we started out pretty up and down. We've been inconsistent was the word that was used quite a bit. But, at this point, since it's relatively early in conference play, I can't say that I'm displeased. I'm actually been pretty happy with some consistency we've seen in a lot of different areas with our team. And I feel like defensively, all the work that they've put in is starting to pay off for us.
Well, Coach, you mentioned defense. Your last game, you had your second Sun Belt win. You only allowed 44 points against a South Alabama team. What did that win mean for your team heading forward into this week?
I think it's important for any team to have some confidence, stepping into the next game, the next series of games. But I think the other piece for us is just the fact that our kids did a great job defensively rebounding, that we were able to out-rebound a team by double digits was really important because that's really been an Achilles heel for us and really the last piece for us defensively, because I think if you take a look at our numbers from previous years and take a look at our numbers as we've grown, we do a pretty good job of field goal percentage and field goal percentage defense. Done a pretty good job in a lot of areas, but it's the rebounding that's really kind of hurt us in allowing second chance points. So for my team specifically, it was really important that we had that type of win, regardless of who the opponent was, but the fact that we were able to rebound was really important.
Coach, you mentioned percentage-wise your defense has been successful in the last few years, and this season is no different with your team ranking second in the Sun Belt in three-point field goal percentage defense. What's really been the key to you, your team contesting and defending the three-point line this year?
I'd like to think the fact that we have pretty good three-point shooters probably helps in practice, that we're having to do a good job at being able to track and identify. So I definitely think there's a correlation with that piece of it. I think the other piece of it is, too, we've been mixing it up between man and zone, and that, sometimes when you're playing the zone, it's a little bit tougher if there aren't shooters for you to shoot a good percentage. And we've been working pretty hard as well on our transition defense, not giving up, that's one of our rules. We don't give up layups or wide open threes.
Coach, coming up this week, you host ULM and Louisiana. Louisiana is one of the top 4 teams in the conference, so big game on Saturday. But can you preview those 2 matchups coming up for your team this week?
The thing that I've been reiterating to my team is that with ULM, they have a new team, meaning that they have quite a few kids that are playing currently just as that haven't played together. And they just recently found their stride in the game against Georgia State. They played probably the best basketball I've seen in watching film regarding their chemistry, patience, understanding where they're going to get their shots from, and then getting after it defensively. That game was a game that really kind of showed me that they've evolved as a team, and they're looking to step forward. I think it's important that we don't sleep. And I have to be honest with you, I haven't watched as much of Lafayette at this point because I'm a game-by-game coach. But my assumption is, like any other Coach Broadhead's teams, they're going to get after it defensively. They're back-to-back WBI champions, so our games are generally always really close. We split with them last year. I think we split the year before. But those games for us have been highly anticipated regarding our kids having a good time, getting after it, and you kind of never know what's going to happen regardless of record when we play each other.
Coach, this year the Sun Belt is moving to bringing all 12 teams to the championship in March. What does it mean for you and your team to know that in March you're going to have the opportunity to come to New Orleans and compete for a conference title down here?
I think for any coach, and I can speak, for myself, it takes some pressure off of understanding kind of where you're finishing in the pecking order, just trying to ensure that you get in. Really allows you to coach the game and get your kids prepared, because in case you find that you're not, one of the top slots, that you still have that opportunity to play, to compete for a championship. And it gives your kids some motivation, because it's hard. It's hard at times. I'm sure it's hard for some coaches previously who weren't in the scenario that they were able to travel to a tournament, that they had to motivate their teams to continue to play. And you really need them to continue to play, not just for their future, but for those seniors. And so now that added pressure and that actually added carrot in some ways has been added with all of our teams going, I think it makes our jobs as coaches a little bit easier from that standpoint with our ability to be able to coach and teach the players.
Well, Coach, lastly, we've been asking every coach on the line, and we, started off the teleconference with Coach Elderkin of App State. But, what are your thoughts on the initiative with the Sun Belt partnering with the American Cancer Society, coming together next week with even your team traveling to App State for a Thursday night game during the Suits and Sneakers Week?
I'm really excited that the Sun Belt Conference has taken on partnering with the American Cancer Society. I think, I've known Angel for quite some time, and not only is she a good person, I think she's an advocate for women in sport, period. So to watch her battle has been tough, but it's also been exciting because of her fighting spirit. But specific with our conference, I can tell you in the past, Rod had lost his wife last year, and we banded together in the women's basketball side, and as head coaches, we donated money to the foundation to raise awareness for her in her name there at Lafayette. And what the Sun Belt Conference did, coming from Kathy and Carl, was they went ahead and matched the funds that the head coaches donated. And I can't tell you, just as a coach, as a wife, as a mother, and someone who's seen friends that have been fighting this, that speaks volumes when there's an organization that is really willing to say, we stand for something, we stand behind our coaches, especially with the current landscape. When you see what's going on in the coaching world, it's a really good feeling to know that there are people out there who care and understand that a lot of times in life it goes way beyond the playing field. And, that's what excites me. And so it's no surprise to me that our conference has taken on, not only aiding Angel in her battle, but also raising awareness, and that we're doing it in both men's and women's basketball. I'm proud and I'm excited.
Well, Coach, thanks again for spearheading that effort, and thank you as well for also joining us on today's teleconference. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Go Bobcats.